It was a cold, moonless night, and I found myself walking down a deserted road, the shadows playing tricks on my weary mind. I could feel an eerie presence following me, lurking just beyond my vision. Every rustle of leaves and distant creak sent shivers down my spine. The darkness seemed to press in on me, suffocating and malevolent. As I continued my journey, the fear within me intensified. The sense of being watched never left, and I quickened my pace, desperate to reach the safety of civilization. But the further I walked, the more isolated I became. No sign of life or any comforting light in the distance. Suddenly, the ground beneath me gave way, and I plummeted into darkness. My heart raced, and the world spun around me as I tumbled deeper into the abyss. The fall felt like an eternity, until finally, I crashed onto a hard, unforgiving surface. Disoriented and in pain, I realized I was trapped in a small, cramped space. Panic set in as I struggled to make sense of my surroundings. It was pitch black, and I couldn't move my limbs freely. It felt like I was buried alive. My mind raced with terror, wondering how I ended up in this nightmarish scenario. Memories flooded back, the deserted road, the ominous presence, the fall into darkness. But before I could piece it all together, a chilling realization struck me. I was not alone. The oppressive darkness seemed to have a life of its own, whispering sinister secrets and haunting my every thought. I could hear faint, muffled sounds coming from the depths of the confined space, as if something else was buried here with me. As my eyes adjusted to the darkness, I caught glimpses of a faint, pale glow emanating from a corner of the cramped enclosure. The eerie light revealed the outline of another human figure, lying motionless and barely breathing. My heart sank as I realized I wasn't alone in this claustrophobic tomb. Fear clawed at my throat as I tried to call out, but my voice failed me. The darkness seemed to feed on my terror, wrapping around me like a suffocating shroud. The other person stirred, and a raspy voice broke the silence. "Who's there? Are you real, or just another trick of this cursed place?" I managed to find my voice and responded, "I'm real, trapped just like you." "How did we end up here?" The stranger's voice trembled as they revealed their story. They too had been lured by a malevolent force, chased by an unseen terror until they fell into the darkness. They had been buried alive for what felt like an eternity, tormented by the whispers and shadows. Together, we devised a plan to escape the confines of our morbid prison. We dug with our bare hands, the dirt cold and clammy against our skin. Every scrape of the earth felt like an eternity, and despair threatened to consume us. But hope fueled our determination. The walls of the grave slowly crumbled away, revealing a narrow passage to the outside world. With grit and sheer will, we crawled toward freedom, leaving the suffocating darkness behind. As we emerged from the ground, gasping for breath and covered in dirt, we found ourselves in an overgrown cemetery. Tombstones loomed like silent sentinels, and the moon cast an eerie glow on the surroundings. Our escape from the grave was only the beginning of a new nightmare. We soon discovered that the cemetery was not as deserted as we had thought. Shadows moved in the corners of our vision, and chilling laughter echoed through the tombstones. It became evident that the malevolent force that had brought us to this cursed place still lingered, a malevolent presence that fed on fear and despair. We were not the first to suffer its twisted games, and we wouldn't be the last. As we navigated the haunted grounds, we encountered other lost souls, all victims of the same nightmarish fate. They too had been lured, chased, and buried alive, left to endure the horrors of the darkness. In our desperation to escape, we vowed to confront the malevolent force head-on. Gathering our courage, we ventured deeper into the heart of the cemetery, seeking the source of the horror that had tormented us. With each step, the air grew colder, and the whispers grew louder. The darkness seemed to coalesce around us, taking form and shape. We faced apparitions of our deepest fears and regrets, tormenting us with memories we wished to forget. Finally, in the heart of the cemetery, we confronted the entity, a sinister, shadowy figure that fed on the terror of the lost souls it ensnared. It reveled in our suffering, a malevolent force beyond comprehension. As we stood before the entity, we knew that escape was not enough. To break the curse that bound us to this nightmarish realm, we had to confront the source of our torment and face it head-on. In an act of selfless bravery, one of us volunteered to be the sacrifice. With a heavy heart, they offered themselves to the entity, becoming a vessel for its malevolence. But in doing so, they were able to weaken the entity's hold on the others. As the sacrifice drew the malevolent force into themselves, the darkness began to dissipate. The whispers faded, and the cemetery returned to an eerie calm. The curse had been broken, but at a great cost. With the entity defeated, the cemetery became peaceful once more. The lost souls who had endured the horrors of the cursed burial ground found solace and were finally at rest. As the survivor, I emerged from the cemetery, forever changed by the ordeal. The memories of that night would haunt me for the rest of my life, a constant reminder of the malevolence that lurks in the shadows. I carry the weight of the sacrifice with me, grateful for my freedom but burdened by the knowledge that I was not the only one to endure such horrors. The cemetery remains a place of eerie tranquility, a reminder of the darkness that lurks just beyond the surface. And so, my tale stands as a warning to all who dare to wander into the unknown. Be wary of the malevolent forces that hide in the shadows, for once they ensnare you, escape may come at a price too steep to bear. Though I escaped the cemetery and its malevolent entity, the horrors I endured continued to haunt my every waking moment. Nightmares plagued my sleep, reliving the terror of being buried alive and the malevolent force that sought to consume my very soul. No amount of daylight could erase the chilling memories etched into my mind. The darkness seemed to follow me, lurking in the corners of my vision. Every creak of a floorboard, every whisper of the wind, sent shivers down my spine. My days became an endless cycle of paranoia and dread, the fear of the unknown never far from my thoughts. I tried to share my harrowing experience with others, seeking solace and understanding, but most dismissed it as a figment of my imagination or the product of a troubled mind. In my quest for answers and closure, I sought out those who had lived near the cursed cemetery. Some scoffed at my claims, while others spoke in hushed tones about rumors and legends that surrounded the burial ground. I encountered old tales of restless spirits, vengeful souls, and a malevolent entity that held dominion over the cursed land. Those who knew the truth warned me to stay away, to forget the horrors I had witnessed, and to accept that some mysteries were better left unsolved. But my curiosity had been ignited, and I couldn't rest until I uncovered the truth behind the malevolent entity and the curse it imposed upon the lost souls. I delved into the archives of the local library, searching for any historical records or accounts that might shed light on the origins of the cursed cemetery. The dusty tomes and yellowed pages revealed a dark history of the land that the cemetery occupied. Long ago, a malevolent figure known as the Entity of Despair was said to have roamed the region, spreading fear and suffering wherever it went. Legend had it that the entity was bound to the cursed land, forever seeking out souls to torment and trap within its grasp. The cursed cemetery had once been a place of dark rituals and sacrificial offerings, a sinister playground for those who sought to harness the power of the malevolent entity. It was here that the cursed ground became a conduit for the entity's malevolence, ensnaring lost souls and trapping them in an eternal nightmare. Armed with newfound knowledge, I knew what I must do to confront the malevolent entity once and for all. I returned to the cursed cemetery, my heart pounding with a mix of fear and determination. Drawing upon the ancient knowledge I had uncovered, I prepared a ritual to banish the malevolent force from the cursed land. As the moon rose overhead, I began the incantation, calling upon powers beyond this world to aid me in my quest. The air crackled with energy, and the shadows danced with an eerie glow. The malevolent entity emerged, its form shifting and contorting in the moonlight. It let out a haunting wail, a chorus of torment that echoed through the cemetery. I stood my ground, refusing to succumb to the fear that threatened to consume me. With every word of the incantation, I felt the power of the ritual grow stronger, pushing back against the malevolence that sought to engulf me. As the incantation reached its crescendo, a blinding light enveloped the cemetery, illuminating every tombstone and shadow. The malevolent entity let out a final scream, its form dissipating into nothingness. The curse had been broken. The air grew still, and the once malevolent presence in the cemetery faded away. The lost souls who had suffered in the cursed land found peace, their tormented spirits finally free to rest. As the last remnants of the malevolent force vanished, the cemetery returned to a sense of tranquility, no longer haunted by the darkness that had plagued it for so long. The cursed cemetery was now a place of healing and closure, a sanctuary for those seeking solace and remembrance. The memories of the malevolent entity and the horrors endured were slowly replaced by a sense of peace and acceptance. I emerged from the cemetery, forever changed by the journey I had undertaken. The nightmares that once haunted my sleep were replaced by visions of hope and a brighter future. Though the scars of the ordeal would always remain, I knew that I had confronted the malevolence head-on and had broken the curse that bound the lost souls to their torment. As I walked away from the cursed cemetery, I felt a newfound sense of purpose and strength. The darkness no longer held sway over my life, and I knew that I would face whatever challenges lay ahead with courage and determination. The cursed cemetery remained a place of cautionary tales and haunting legends, but it was also a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. The malevolent force may have sought to consume the souls trapped within its grasp, but in the end, it was the power of hope, courage, and unity that prevailed. Word spread about the brave soul who had confronted the malevolent entity and broken the curse of the cursed cemetery. People from far and wide came to hear the tale of the harrowing journey and the triumph of hope over darkness. The story of the cursed cemetery and the malevolent entity became a cautionary tale, a reminder of the dangers that lurked in the shadows and the importance of facing one's fears head-on. The lost souls who had been trapped in the cursed land were now remembered as brave individuals who had endured unimaginable horrors. The cemetery itself underwent a transformation, becoming a place of reverence and commemoration. Memorials were erected to honor the lost souls, and visitors paid their respects to those who had suffered under the malevolent entity's grasp. The legacy of courage left by the survivor inspired others to confront their own fears and challenges. People began to face the darkness in their lives, seeking healing and closure from past traumas. The The malevolent force that had once plagued the cursed cemetery was now overshadowed by the resilience of the human spirit. As the survivors' story continued to spread, they became a symbol of hope and strength. They used their experiences to advocate for mental health awareness and support for those who had faced similar traumas. A support group was formed for individuals who had encountered malevolent forces or supernatural horrors, providing a safe space for sharing experiences and finding solace in the company of others who understood their struggles. The survivor's journey also caught the attention of paranormal investigators and researchers. They were intrigued by the tale of the malevolent entity and the rituals that had been used to confront it. The survivor willingly shared their knowledge, hoping to aid others in their quest for understanding and closure. Despite the triumph over the malevolent entity, some mysteries surrounding the cursed cemetery remained unresolved. The origin of the malevolent force and the true nature of the entity continued to elude even the most seasoned researchers. Rumors persisted that the malevolent entity still lurked in the shadows, its power weakened but not completely extinguished. Some claimed to have seen faint glimpses of its form in the cemetery, while others reported strange occurrences and unexplained phenomena. The survivor remained vigilant, aware that the malevolent force may never truly be vanquished. They continued to study ancient texts and delve into the realms of the unknown, hoping to find answers to the questions that plagued their mind. The survivor's journey did not end with the confrontation of the malevolent entity. Their quest for understanding and healing became a lifelong pursuit, a journey into the realms of the supernatural and the mysteries of the human psyche. They became a beacon of hope for others who faced their own demons, offering support and guidance to those in need. The survivor's story became a legend, inspiring generations to come to face their fears with courage and resilience. As the survivor looked back on the horrors they had endured, they knew that the cursed cemetery and the malevolent entity were not just a tale of terror, but a testament to the strength of the human spirit in the face of darkness. The survivor's legacy lived on, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, hope could prevail, and the human spirit could triumph over malevolence. The cursed cemetery remained a place of caution and mystery, but it was also a place of courage and healing, forever tied to the journey of the brave soul who dared to confront the malevolent entity. And so, the story of I Was Buried Alive, But I Was Not Alone became a legend in its own right, a tale of horror and hope, a testament to the indomitable spirit of the human soul. Years passed, and the survivor's legend grew, but the mysteries surrounding the cursed cemetery continued to haunt them. The survivor couldn't shake the feeling that their journey was not truly complete, that there was still unfinished business at the place where their nightmare had begun. Driven by an insatiable need for closure, the survivor made the decision to return to the cursed cemetery. With a mix of trepidation and determination, they stepped foot once more on the hallowed ground. As they walked among the tombstones and whispered prayers for the lost souls, the air grew heavy with an unsettling energy. The malevolent presence seemed to linger, a remnant of the entity they had banished all those years ago. Drawing upon the knowledge they had acquired over the years, the survivor began to perform a new ritual, seeking to cleanse the cursed cemetery of the malevolent energy that still clung to its grounds. With every incantation, the air crackled with power, and the shadows retreated. The survivor could feel the malevolent force weakening, its grip on the cursed land loosening. But just as they thought their task was complete, the ground beneath them trembled, and an ethereal figure emerged from the shadows. It was the malevolent entity, its form shifting and contorting in a display of twisted power. the survivor stood their ground, refusing to be intimidated by the malevolent force. They had faced the entity once before and emerged victorious, and they were determined to do so again. As the survivor confronted the malevolent entity, they realized that there was more to the curse than they had initially thought. The entity wasn't just a malevolent force seeking to torment lost souls. It was a manifestation of the darkness that lurked within humanity itself. The entity fed on fear, despair, and the darkest emotions that resided in the human heart. It thrived on the pain and suffering of the living, drawing strength from their weaknesses and vulnerabilities. In that moment of revelation, the survivor understood that the true battle was not just against the malevolent entity, but against the darkness within themselves and within all of humanity. With newfound clarity, the survivor knew what they had to do to break the curse once and for all. It wasn't just about banishing the malevolent entity, it was about confronting the darkness within themselves and offering a sacrifice of the heart. In an act of profound courage and vulnerability, the survivor opened their heart to the malevolent entity. They confronted their own fears, regrets, and pain, bearing their soul to the darkness that had haunted them for so long. The malevolent entity recoiled at the unexpected display of bravery. It had never encountered such resistance before, and its malevolence began to waver. As the survivor stood before the malevolent entity, they felt a surge of power within themselves. The darkness that had once held sway over their mind and heart began to dissipate, replaced by a newfound strength and resilience. In that moment of self-discovery and acceptance, the survivor realized that the malevolent entity was not all-powerful. It was a reflection of the darkness that resided in every human heart, and it could be weakened and ultimately defeated by the triumph of the human spirit. With a final burst of energy, the survivor unleashed their inner light, a beacon of hope and courage that shattered the malevolent entity's malevolence. The cursed cemetery was bathed in a brilliant glow, and the malevolent force vanished, never to haunt the land again. As the malevolent entity dissipated into the ether, the cursed cemetery became a place of peace and healing once more. The survivor had conquered their own inner demons and had broken the curse that had plagued the lost souls for so long. But this time, the survivor knew that their journey wasn't about vanquishing malevolent forces or seeking closure from the past. It was about embracing the journey of self-discovery and acknowledging that darkness was a part of life, but so too was the power of hope, resilience, and love. The survivor left the cursed cemetery with a heart full of gratitude and a newfound sense of purpose. Their legend continued to inspire others, not just for their bravery in facing malevolent entities, but for their willingness to confront the darkness within themselves. As the survivor walked away from the cursed cemetery, they knew that the journey of self-discovery and healing was ongoing. Life was a series of battles against darkness and malevolence, but it was also a journey of triumphs and the celebration of the human spirit. And so, the tale of I Was Buried Alive, But I Was Not Alone became more than just a creepypasta horror story. It became a testament to the power of the human spirit, the courage to confront the unknown, and the resilience to emerge from darkness stronger and wiser. The survivor's journey was a reminder to all who heard their tale that life was an adventure into the depths of the human soul, where the real monsters and heroes dwelled. And as the legend of the survivor continued to spread, so too did the hope that no matter how dark the night, the light of the human spirit would always shine through.